Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig Podcast, we're talking about the rumor of a new Astro Bot game, an AI assistant coming to a game near you, and the future of Naughty Dog.
All right, man, we got this big episode today.
Biggin.
Starting things off, though, we have rumors, although they seem pretty good, it's pretty substantial, that
Pretty good rumor.
we are going to see at the new upcoming PlayStation Showcase / State of Play, whatever they call it, a new Astro Bot game, which is particularly exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's a little exciting for me.
But that's not the only rumor that we have that may be coming out of this PlayStation Showcase State of Play later on, but we'll talk more about that later.
No.
But Astro Bot is one of those franchises that I think is amazing. Mm-hmm. I love both the Astro Bot games very much, and I think it's very smart of Sony and PlayStation to be putting Astro out front. I think that it's a cool character. There's been great games. Mm-hmm. I think it totally makes sense.
Well, there's been 2 games, right?
2 games, yes.
So Astro Bot's Playroom is the one that I played. That's the one that probably most of you played if you played one, because that came with your PS5. Mm-hmm. It's a great tech demo for the DualSense. Mm-hmm. But then there's also, what is it, Astro Bot Rescue Mission? That's only VR though, right?
Yeah, that was the first game, and it was a PSVR game. And I think a lot of people didn't play that because it was a PSVR game, but it is a fantastic game. A lot of people have asked for that game to move out of VR. Like they wish that game had been, because it was really not played from like a first-person perspective. It technically probably could have been ported over to being like just a regular game.
Yeah.
A 2D game, as you could say, I guess, like not immersive 3D, a regular, regular.
I played just a few minutes of that game at your house once. I remember that. Yeah, I walked in and you were like, bro, you got to put these things on. You got to check this out. And then I puked in your living room. I'm just kidding. No, I didn't.
Very gross.
No, I didn't. But yeah, I think Astro Bot is very cool. You made some big claims. Or big, not claims, but some high praise on a stream recently. Do you remember what you said, Gamepaw?
No, I don't remember what I said.
You said that you felt like Astro Bot has more potential than any other of these like secondary IPs to be the next like Mario level mascot.
Yeah. I think Astro is he's very distinctive. He's got you could easily draw him. Say like you're a kid and you wanted to draw Astro. I think he'd be a fairly easy character to draw. I think that he's just like, he's got a cutesy personality. He doesn't talk. I think like lots of things go into the fact that he would make a great platform, mascot platformer. Mm-hmm. I think he'd be a great like character to have as like kind of the face of PlayStation, kind of like Mario is for Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome. And we're seeing like what has happened is the leak of the like Days of Play poster has come out. Mm-hmm. And who's on the front of it? Astro.
Wow.
So that is cool to me. I think that's awesome.
I've never thought about drawability being a substantial factor in a mascot, but that's interesting that you say that. Because I do almost think I might be able to draw Astro,
right?
And I don't draw. I don't know if Opti, I don't know if you watch the podcast, but if you do, I would love to see you draw Astro because I bet it would be good.
But I, am interested in seeing have people played Astro, any of the Astro games, and are they excited about the potential of a new Astro game coming out? So. Put out a poll asking, have you played an Astro game?
That's right. At a whopping 3% people said that they played Astro Bot Rescue Mission. That's the PSVR game. At 44%, people said they played Astro's Playroom. That was the PS5 packing game. At 7%, people said, I played both of them. And at 46%, people said, no.
Right. So a lot of people saying no, but a good chunk of people playing Astro's Playroom. I'm assuming that everyone who got a PS5, not everyone, but a bulk of the people who got a PS5 have at least played around with Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, and if you didn't, why not? Maybe because you had another game like immediately that you wanted to play. I get that, I guess. But it's really cool. It's really cool, and I think you should try it out. I'm wondering, though, talking about this dude being like a Mario level mascot, I mean, I guess even Mario started out relatively unknown, but 46% of people saying they've never even played one of the Astro's games. It's an uphill battle.
It's an uphill battle,
mascot them.
but I think that if we put out a poll saying like, do you own a PlayStation 5? The number of people who say yes or people who say no is gonna be around that 46%.
True.
I'm thinking the bulk of those no's come from people who just don't own a PS5.
So we're extrapolating that if we, these would be similar if we said, do you even have a PS5?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking so.
I don't know if data always works that way, but I do smell what you're stepping in.
Okay. I don't know that it always works that way anyway, but we got some comments here. And if you're new to the podcast, this is kind of what we do. We put out polls and we read the comments on from the main Gaming Gig channel. What are you doing? Why are you messing with me right now? Y'all? He's upset that I'm giving the spiel. He wants to give the spiel. You want it? Go. Take it. Take it, Daniel.
Okay, so what we do is we take comments from our YouTube polls that are posted on the main channel, and we feature them here. We even occasionally feature a Discord comment, but don't get cute with it, okay?
So our first comment on this is from Last Surprise 8225, who said, for a pre-download free PS5 game, Astro's Playroom is pretty fun. It's short and sweet while still having some challenges to overcome and some awesome level design and Easter eggs. I would say it's more than pretty fun. I thought that game was very fun.
I thought it was very fun too.
Yeah.
And I put a note in here that I really enjoyed, picking up all the little pieces of the old PlayStations and how it just kind of seemed like a love letter, like walking through the years of Sony's consoles. And I really enjoyed that. It's nothing too crazy, but it was good fun.
Yeah, so if you haven't played it, basically the game is a platformer that is really to showcase the DualSense controller and all of its abilities, but the collectibles that you get, as all good platformers have, all the collectibles are bits of PlayStation paraphernalia, or, they could be controllers, or they could be peripherals, or just straight up consoles, or just anything related to PlayStation and its history. Those are the things you collect, and you basically collect sets. So you collect a set for PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and the PlayStation 5. It just has a little bit of everything.
And you can go really look at them, and I think it gives you like little history on all of them. And I love stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of like collecting trophies back in the day for Smash.
Yeah, very similar to that.
And then how it would tell you, what game is this person from? When did it come out? I used to love that, like on Melee specifically. I think I probably learned a lot about games just from reading all those trophies.
Absolutely. I remember like people doing that, and I don't remember ever getting into it because I didn't own Melee. But I remember being at your house and us looking through the trophies and stuff like as we were playing. So
yeah,
you probably did spend a lot of time doing that. And if I had Melee, I would have been doing it for sure.
It was cool. It was a neat little collectathon. All right, we got another comment here from Steve Davies, who said, can't believe how many people said no. It's free with your PS5, and it's one of the best platformers ever made.
Ever made.
Ever made. High praise.
Yeah. I mean, it is a great platformer. I feel like it's too short. Well, I mean, like, I don't mind short games, but I do feel like it's a little too short and doesn't, really earn its place as one of the greatest ever. But I really like it. And I think that if the same team were to make a more fully fledged game, I'd say, that was in that same style, I could totally see it being a contender for one of the greatest ever. I really do.
And that's a lot of pressure to put on the studio. But, and I know they're watching.
They are watching,
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's necessarily one of the best ever made. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think it's probably the best tech demo I've ever played. But that's probably about where I have to stop there. It's just not long enough, kind of like you said.
Well,
you got to earn it.
In that same line, though, they have made a full game, which is Astro Bot Rescue Mission, that being a VR game, and that is one of the best VR games ever. We got a comment here from BB Thumb, who said, the VR game was super awesome, never seen anything like it. 100% agree. It is definitely one of the best VR games. Maybe not the best, but definitely top 5 VR games I've ever played. Hands down. It is phenomenal. So, Rescue Mission, if you have a PSVR, you need to play Astro Bot Rescue Mission. So great. It's a shame that they have not ported that game to the PlayStation VR 2, but a lot of that game was built around the specifics in terms of how the PSVR was put together, in terms of what kind of controllers they used. Actually, it was built, I think you control it with a DualShock 4 controller. So it's very built around the DualShock 4 controller. They probably could port it to PSVR 2, but it would take a lot of reworking of assets and stuff.
Yeah. You could always port it to PC, but then you're going to have to make me put my PlayStation Network ID in, and then everybody's going to get mad at you. So probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Throwing a little shade.
On a semi-related thing, I mean, we know that PlayStation, it's been a few months now, but they specifically said that they were working on making the PSVR 2 compatible with the PC.
Yeah.
And we have not seen that happen yet. So maybe that is something we will see at this upcoming showcase.
That'd be cool.
That would be amazing.
That would really open that thing up.
We know that they have paused production of the PSVR 2 because it hasn't sold well. They need to do two things here. They need to have a new PSVR 2 game, an exclusive that is a high budget game.
Yep, a banger.
They need it. And then they need to announce that it's coming to PC. And then that game that's coming, it needs to come to PC as well. They need to do the whole thing. They need to make it so that buying a PSVR 2 is more than just the PS5 owners who would like to be interested in VR.
Yeah.
It's just not a good value proposition.
Yeah. They've really they just haven't followed up. They delivered this, what seems, by all rights, seems to be like an amazing piece of tech. And then they just they just haven't done the damn thing.
No, I mean, and the PSVR, the original PSVR was successful. I mean, I think at one point it was the most successful VR headset just because it had the most mass appeal. But then Meta came around, and I think the Quest 2 dethroned it easily. Like the Quest 2 is the first like real giant boom of a VR headset that we've seen.
Right.
And now the Quest 2 is still selling and still sells very well. And PSVR 2 can't compete at all with even the Quest 2, much less the Quest 3.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's the end of our conversation about Astro Bot. We're going to move into something else. But first, I want to tell you guys about our Discord server. We would love for you to be a member of our Discord server. Of course, it's free, and there's an invite link in the description of this podcast, wherever you get it. It's a super welcoming server where we just talk games all day. It really is just a cool place.
That's right. There's even an art channel now. So if you draw, join up and post in that thing.
Yeah, I would love to see your art, for real.
That would be cool.
Yeah. If you just, whatever you do, if you like video, especially if you do video game art, or like if you, like draw characters from your favorite video games, I would love to see that.
That would be cool. Yeah. That would be a neat thing to get thrown in the old server. All right. So Randy, we've talked a lot about artificial intelligence. I know that the two of us struggle with, organic intelligence. And we've talked about how nice it would be if we could supplement what we don't have, but that's not what today's about, because Microsoft released a couple of demos showing how Copilot might be able to help you in Minecraft. Did you watch these damn things?
I watched a video. I don't know. They put out multiple videos.
There was two. Yeah,
okay. I only watched one.
Was it the one where he's building the sword?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one I watched. So yeah, Microsoft is basically suggesting that soon. I think they're going to do it.
Yeah. They said it's coming.
It's going to be here. They're going to have basically Copilot AI integration into, I assume, the Xbox and probably Xbox apps on PC. And essentially what you'll be able to do is call upon an AI to basically look at your game and help you out. You can say, hey, I want to do this. Can you help me do it?
Yeah. The videos they released, the one was like, hey, Copilot, I'm trying to build a sword. And it was like, oh, well, press this button to open your inventory. And then it was like, oh, man, you got plenty of wood, but you don't have, like, the stone or whatever. And it told them what to do. So that's pretty neat. The other one was he opened it up, and he was like, hey, Copilot, how are you? And then he was like, oh, my God, what are these things? And Copilot was like, those are zombies. You need to run immediately. You either need to find a hole in the ground to get away from them or build a tower really fast. And the dude, like, ran to a cave, and he was like, and Copilot was like, good job finding cover.
I can't wait until we see AI start giving you just like made up things that are not real at all, because you know that's what's going to happen. They're going to lead you astray. We're going to have the AI hallucinations come out, and it's going to be telling you to do something that you can't even begin to do in the game.
Does this mean you think that AI will be coming to Sea of Thieves? If it's coming to the Xbox app, we think?
It might. I mean, I'm sure it will be implemented first into Microsoft-owned games, right?
Yeah.
I would assume. I'm assuming that they're not just going to put it across all games. Like if you're playing on Xbox, you can just call upon it. But maybe you can.
Does that mean you could like load in and like be like, Copilot, what should I do? And it'll be like, look around. And then it'll be like, oh, you've got a world event. you can go do. It's a Flameheart fleet. Get in your ship. Don't forget to raise the anchor and set sail. You know, like
I don't know if I want that. I don't know what that's going to be. But that's the question. Is like, are people interested in this? So we did put out a poll saying, are you interested in having an AI assistant when you play a video game?
Yeah, 9% said hell yeah, and 91% said no. Keep that crap away from me.
I mean, to me, it seems kind of cool, but at the same time, I'm like, until I get my hands on it, I don't know if I want this. But 91% of people saying they just straight up don't want it.
Yeah.
I think all of us are getting tired of AI. Like, it has been the conversation for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
It just won't end.
I'm a little tired of having to talk about it all the time because we talk about it so often that it's not always making huge improvements, you know, because we talk about it so often. Mm-hmm. But it is improving pretty dang fast. And it is going to be huge. So I'm not tired of it necessarily. I'm just... Maybe I wish we didn't have to talk about it as much as we do. And I mean just people in general, because it's just in the news all the time. Not just like on the podcast, because we don't really talk about it that much on the podcast. Yeah. But in day-to-day life, I mean, especially like... It comes up a lot.
It does. It comes up a good bit.
But I'm very interested in it. So, I'm not necessarily tired of it. But I'll tell you, I found this poll interesting. And when I was reflecting on like how I would answer this question, mm-hmm. I had to go with a no because of the way that you phrased it. Because you said, are you interested in having AI assist you when playing a game? So I said no, because I like to try to figure things out on my own. And if I can't, I've got the internet, Right. But then I started thinking about like when we were kids. Mm-hmm. And we were way too young to be playing a game like this because we just weren't smart enough. But we were like struggling through Ocarina of Time, And you get to the water temple and talk about a knowledge check, right? We would all come to school the next day. We'd get on the playground and we'd gather around our buddy, Theron Mathis, calling him out because he had the Ocarina of Time strategy guide. Mm-hmm. And we'd be like, dude, I'm at this part. I got here last night. I don't know what to do. And we'd flip to the page and like try to remember what it says. And we'd go home and try to beat it, Mm-hmm. For one, what great memories to have. Mm-hmm. And if there's an AI assistant built into the game, kids aren't going to have those anymore. And I don't know that anybody's...
Those are already gone, though.
And I was getting to that. Yeah, like it... They are largely gone because the games these kids are playing are different now.
Yeah, strategy guides are a thing of the past. I mean, you just don't... There are strategy guides online. Like, you can still look up strategy, like walkthroughs and things like that online. Yeah. They're definitely there. But in terms of the physical strategy guide, they don't exist anymore.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical strategy guide for you to go to school and discuss how to progress in a game with your buddies.
Right, yeah.
And if you can just ask AI right on the spot, like, hey, AI... Man, I don't know. I can't figure out how to raise the water level here. And there's this stone here, and I can't figure out where it's supposed to go. And it's like, oh, yeah, you need to put the stone here. Then you need to go pull this lever. Then you can drop down with your boots, move the stone again, and there you go. Well, then that's like a whole saga of my memory that just wouldn't exist anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
and that's kind of sad.
If that's the case, I kind of wonder if it wouldn't be a little more vague. Like, we don't know because we don't have it in our hands yet. Would it be like... Oh, you might want to play around with this. Like, it might give you more of like a hint instead of just straight up telling you what to do. Mm-hmm. It depends on how these things are programmed. And
I bet you could ask it to do either.
You probably could. You could say, hey, I don't really want you to tell me what to do. Just give me a hint on what to do. That would be interesting.
And you could probably be like, dude, I am stuck. I am pissed off. Tell me exactly what to do. And it probably would.
I think I agree. I think it depends on how it's implemented, which kind of leads us right into a comment here from Celera Rose, who said, depends on how AI can be used to make inventory management easier or in other more background ways in regards to things that are necessary but tedious, or it could get in the way, taking away from the enjoyment. Or it could be an accessibility option that helps people enjoy games who otherwise couldn't, but those who don't want or need it can turn it off. It's just too broad a question for a simple yes or no. It really depends on exactly how it's assisting. And yeah, I agree. I think it really does depend on how much of an assistant is it? Mm-hmm. And can you choose how much you use it? And is it there all the time, or can you turn it on and off? Like, I'm sure you're going to be able to turn it on and off.
Sure, you can turn it on and off. And I do agree that the accessibility, ramifications of something like this would be huge.
Potentially, yeah.
So that's good.
I could see it being good for not only that, but I could see it being good for kids. Say you're playing a game and you just, aren't old enough to have played enough video games to like understand video game language the same way that people who've been playing it their whole lives are. Mm-hmm. Because video games definitely have a certain language about them that isn't innate. Like, you're not going to just get it if you haven't played video games, I think about like how when you say you drop down in a game and the game subtly like wants you to go over there. But if you haven't played a whole lot of video games, you may not notice some of those context clues that are pointing you in a certain direction or telling you to go this way instead of that way. If you're a kid, you'd be like, hey, which way do I go?
Right.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know how hard it was? We played that dang Lion King game on Super Nintendo.
Oh, gosh.
Like, I know we're not the only ones who probably played the Lion King for SNES and still regard it as the hardest game of all time. At least I think I do.
Stupidly hard.
What if I had AI to be like, dude, when do I need to jump on this freaking rhinoceros's back? Like, if I have to hear, I can't wait to be king one more time, I'm going to put my foot through the damn screen.
And the thing is, the AI wouldn't be able to just do it for you yet.
Right,
so
yet.
The problem with that game is
Put it on autopilot.
Yeah. Be like, I just need you to get through this for me. And it's like, okay. Doop, 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 doop.
Holy crap. That's coming, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be here before we know it.
God. AI
That's already been like, talked about in like patents and stuff from like, I think both Microsoft and Sony are working on that.
Wow.
So that's a thing.
I would have used it.
Oh yeah, you totally. Daniel doesn't believe me, but I did see Adult Simba. I turned into Adult Simba one time playing that game.
And the reason I don't believe him is because I've watched a playthrough of that game.
Yeah.
And I know that the Can't Wait to Be King level isn't even like right before Adult Simba.
No.
And I know there's more jankiness to be had, although everybody does say that level was peak jank.
Yo, yes.
But and I also know if you let that game sit on the title screen for long enough, it will cycle through the different phases of Simba and see Adult Simba. And my theory is that young Grandpa let it play through the title screen, saw Adult Simba, and convinced himself through his 60 years on this earth that he got there.
He's just jealous because he never got to be Adult Simba.
And I'm man enough to admit it. That's the difference. Okay. We got a comment here. We ready to move on?
We're ready to move on. Let's see what old Heck Vedika has to say.
So Heck Vedika, longtime friend of the podcast, said, I think the question is too vague. Are we talking, huh?
I said, I'm sorry, Heck. I was the one who phrased the question. So I'm sorry it was too vague.
Gotcha. I think the question is too vague. Are we talking large language models and NPCs so the conversation is context specific? Could it be AI art assisting in some procedural generation? There's a lot of ways it can help that would be welcome, but it always depends on the implementation and the ethics of how the data set is sourced.
First of all, I think, Heck, I hope you enjoyed Daniel's impersonation of you. And
that was an impersonation.
It seemed like an impersonation, I think.
That was just me being dramatic.
But it seems like Heck's comment here is more targeted towards developers using AI to assist in making a game, where I think the question was more targeted towards players playing games.
Yeah.
But still interesting questions nonetheless.
Yeah, and devs using AI. That's been in the news fairly recently with things like Power World and stuff like that. So, Heck ain't exactly coming out of left field here. But, Heck brought up NPCs.
Yes.
And that would be really cool to me.
It's already out. It's already happening.
What game is it in?
You can download Skyrim mods that do
it. Like mods and stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that sounds awesome because Skyrim specifically is what I was going to talk about. Those NPCs are just dumb as hell. There's several dragons circling overhead and you walk up and they're like, oh, have you heard about the news? The Jarl is leaving. It's like, bro, you're about to die. And if there was an AI large language model there, it might recognize that situation and react more accordingly. And I think that would be cool. And I think it would help with immersion. The
videos of the people doing the AI, Skyrim like mods are hilarious. Because they've trained the AI or the specific one they're using. They've told them they give them backstories of okay, you're in Skyrim, you have to respond as if you are a Skyrim character. It's not like you're just talking to a ChatGPT and it's just responding like ChatGPT would. It's it's very specific, but you could tell it's AI. It doesn't feel the same as these other for better and for worse. I mean, it works both ways for sure. It's definitely interesting. I'm interested to see when the first big game that comes out with it pre-baked in, not a mod.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see when that happens. Just because I want to see what it's like. I want to see how
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Now you could probably, I just know it would lead to some, there's going to be some jankiness. That's all. That you just know, like the AI is going to mention like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Or something. You're going to be like, whoa, I'm playing Dragon's Dogma. I'm trying to get away from this.
Have you seen like so Google has recently introduced the Gemini like summaries when you do Google searches now. Have you seen that?
I've had that enabled for a while, actually.
Okay. So they finally now it's like everywhere. And I saw people talking about like some of you could put in all kinds of crazy stuff and it would give you these specific things that were just like really bad advice. Like it was like someone put in like, what do I do about depression? And like it suggested jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, it didn't.
It did.
It did.
It did. It seriously did. It was, yeah. Or like, it was like, what's a way of getting rid of depression? And that was the suggestion it gave. And it's like, oh my gosh.
This one's telling me this is all good.
This is all good. Well, maybe they fixed it.
Yeah.
There was the one where it was like another one I saw that was funny was like, how do I get my cheese to stop sliding off pizza? And it said to put Elmer's glue in the sauce. Oh,
that is awesome. It is non-toxic.
That's what it said.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Let us know how that tastes.
But there are all kinds of, it's like AI is going to do, they're going to AI, it's going to do that kind of like, just like say some crap and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's going to be less and less of that in the coming years. They're going to get better and better. And for that reason, I'm not sick of AI yet because it's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah. It's going to be wild.
It is going to be insane.
But in terms of, back to our conversation about having an AI assistant in a video game, we have one more comment about that. We have this one from Wallakalok. That's it. We've had a comment from Wallakalok in the past. So it says, generally no. However, I think it would be a really cool idea if a game, say with a sci-fi or futuristic setting, implemented an AI directly into the game. The AI would be coded to know nothing but what's in the universe of the game. Players could roleplay and ask the AI direct questions about events that happened in the game world lore. That's really interesting. So basically kind of like, instead of having a character in a sci, because we have AI characters going all the way back, Space Odyssey, 2000, that was like a big thing. So what if it was just part of the video game and be interactable? That's a cool use of it.
That is neat because it's like, this guy's saying like maybe not every game, but if it makes sense in the context, put it in the game.
Right.
You talk about increasing immersion. I mean, that would be cool. Something like a No Man's Sky or Starfield, things like that. Like
totally.
That would be really cool.
Even games that just like have some sort of advanced tech, say something like a Horizon game, like say like that, where it would kind of make sense to have some sort of AI character in the game.
Cortana literally was meant to be an AI, so that'd be perfect. You could even go back and even what if the thing isn't meant to be an AI necessarily, but it's meant to be an assistant. What if that assistant is an AI? It's just not necessarily presented that way. Like Navi. I'm using Ocarina of Time today. I don't know why. There was a comment. Somebody brought up Navi. I didn't include it in the outline. It was fairly negative, but
I'm sure
because people hated Navi.
Yeah,
because all Navi would do is be like, "Listen," and then it just. I don't even remember. I can't even give you a good example, but it'd be like the Great Deku Tree wants to talk to you, and I'm like, "Bitch, I'm in Zora's domain."
Yeah,
But what if Navi could tell you something helpful? That would have been cool.
Yeah. And also, if you could turn it off, that would also be
cool. Would have been cool, too.
Oh, Navi. Well, I think this AI conversation, obviously, it's going to be... We'll have more to say once this actually gets implemented and we try it in a game.
We need to try it on stream.
Yes. That would be hilarious.
We need to have us a Minecraft stream.
Yeah.
And just
abuse it.
Just mess around with AI.
And the thing is, I wonder how this is going to be implemented. If it's going to come, we probably could have done research and found out if this was going to come to more games or if this was going to,
Well, they're not going to just stop at Minecraft.
No, they're not.
It'll keep coming.
Well, we got one more topic, y'all, but real quick.
But first,
I want to tell you guys about our Twitch stream. Speaking of Twitch and streaming, we stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Sometimes Friday and Saturday if we're able to. Basically, most every day except Wednesdays.
Yep.
At 8 p.m. Eastern. We'd love for you to hang out with us. It's a great place to kind of interact with us directly. We can have these kind of conversations on Twitch, except you can be involved.
That's right. We do a lot of, more just chatting oriented streams these days. We've kind of found that we enjoy the sound of our own voices. I don't know what to say.
Believe it or not.
So we do a lot of those. We play some games. We play Sea of Thieves quite a bit. It's a good time.
Absolutely. So there's a link to our Twitch channel if you want to follow us or just check out when we're live in the description of this video.
That's right. And make sure you get the live notifications because I always put something clever in there.
So clever.
I'm super clever.
So clever.
All right. Take us into our last topic, Randall Abra.
So probably one of the biggest news stories this week has been about Neil Druckmann, who is, of course, the head of Naughty Dog. And Neil Druckmann did an interview where he kind of talked about the future of Naughty Dog and the games, and also just his future in terms of being involved in gaming. And a lot of interesting stuff came out of this. Obviously, we're talking about one of the heads of one of the most well-received, most beloved gaming studios.
And most infamous.
Yeah, and most infamous. I mean, it kind of comes with it, right? They are very controversial in some ways, but also very loved.
Yes.
Naughty Dog has put out a lot of games that people adore and hate. But one way or another, most people have some thoughts about Naughty Dog. Yeah.
That's right. So, Neil Druckmann, the Naughty Dog himself, he was asked, what's the next project from Naughty Dog? And he kind of skirts around it. He doesn't say that it is Last of Us Part 3. He doesn't say it's not. He doesn't say it is a new IP. He doesn't say it's not. Doesn't even necessarily rule out Uncharted. But he did say, and this is kind of where it gets a little murky, he was quoted as saying that the next game from Naughty Dog would redefine mainstream perceptions of gaming.
Which is a very bold claim, obviously.
Extremely.
This is it's almost like quadruple A coming out of Ubisoft about, Skull and Bones. People
I didn't even think about that comparison.
But people don't like it when heads of studios say this kind of stuff.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
Kojima.
Ooh, yeah. Very Kojima.
And that reaction you just had, that's what I have to Kojima.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But here's the thing. Neil Druckmann did come out after this and said, hey, that's not exactly what I said. That quote was actually heavily edited, and he provided the full rambly answer that it was edited down to.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he never really said anything about redefining the mainstream perceptions of gaming. That was kind of
right.
Kind of added, honestly.
That was kind of added. Now, it's kind of like he talked a lot about not just the next game in his rambly answer. He also talked about The Last of Us show.
Yes.
And he kind of did talk about how that show, he felt like, because it was very successful. And he said it kind of helped bridge the gap between people who maybe didn't even know this was a game. At the end, maybe find out it's based on a game. Maybe they go play the game. And because it was so mainstream successful, that might have kind of redefined the way people think about storytelling in games. And I kind of feel like that's where this quote got distilled from.
Yeah, because it was basically a summary. The quote they put was, it's like someone tried to summarize his answer into a much shorter paragraph.
Yeah.
And it didn't go so well.
But they only attribute it to the context of the next game, when it wasn't just about the next game.
No.
So, we got you, Druckmann. We got you.
So I do think he was a little misquoted on that. And he can't exactly come out, because I think this interview was through Sony, was it not?
It was yeah.
So you can't exactly, he was kind about it. He was like, that wasn't exactly what I said. He can't exactly be like, those Sony guys.
He pretty much did say, Sony misquoted me.
Basically,
that's pretty much what he said.
Basically.
What are they going to do? Drop Naughty Dog?
No, they ain't going to drop Naughty Dog.
Yes, and before we move on to other things that he said, I just want to get this in real quick. He did say that he feels like there's one more chapter in The Last of Us that needs to be told, and I don't think that needs to be glossed over.
I mean, I know I would love to see Last of Us Part 3 personally, but that brings us to our poll about this topic. Interested in finding out what you guys, what you would like to see from Naughty Dog. So we put up a poll asking, what would you most like to see from Naughty Dog?
That's right. At 14%, people said, give me Uncharted 5. I want to know more about this Nathan Drake character. At 18%, people said, give us The Last of Us Part 3 so we can write mean things on the internet again. And at 54%, people said, give me something new, Naughty Dog. I want a new IP, something else. And at 14%, people said, I'm not interested in you, Mr. Naughty Dog.
I'm surprised that so few people said they were not interested. I thought there'd be more people saying, I don't care about Naughty Dog. Most people do care, at least in some way, but a majority at 54%, people saying that they want something new, a new IP, just something to shake up what Naughty Dog's been doing. Because it seems like for the last many years, only thing Naughty Dog's been putting out has either been Last of Us or Uncharted. Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And I will say, I have not jumped on the Uncharted train. Maybe one day I will.
Very good.
Maybe one day I will, but I tried to start at the first game, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have started a little later, and I should have watched a summary
Maybe start
video.
with 2.
Yeah.
2 is where it really gets good.
Yeah. So maybe one day I'll do that. But obviously, I'm a huge Last of Us fan. So I would be fine with Naughty Dog just making Last of Us till I'm done with this earth, if I'm being honest.
Right.
As long as it was good.
Yeah.
So that's where I fall on this. I want to see Last of Us Part 3, personally.
Well, the word around the water cooler is that
Give it to me.
that they're working on a new IP. Like, what the thing that's going to come out is going to be a new IP. So I think most people are going to be happy.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's what you want to see from them or not is another question. But the rumor is, and I think basically they may have even talked about it maybe unofficially or maybe even officially that they were working on a new IP. But I think that is what's coming next.
Yeah, reading Druckmann's interview, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah, definitely.
I know he never says it, and he kind of skirts around everything, but it kind of feels like new IP territory, and I'm fine with that.
Yep, and that, in fact, that's the rumor that is coming up, is that during this PlayStation Showcase State of Play, we're going to see for the very first time what Naughty Dog has been working on.
When is that?
It's going to be very soon. I mean, like in June.
June?
In June, yeah.
I guess we'll stream it.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited.
That'll be fun.
But we have some comments here about old Naughty Dog and what they're putting out. First one from Larry House, who says, I'm ready to go back to the world of Jack. Ripping around the wasteland in a desert vehicle lined with machine guns was so awesome in Jack 3. The potential could be endless today.
A lot of people talked about Jack and Daxter in the comments.
That was the most common thing, was people saying they want more Jack and Daxter.
Did you ever play Jack or Daxter?
So I rented, I don't remember maybe the first Jack and Daxter game, was it PlayStation 2?
Probably.
I rented and played it one time. I am not very familiar with Jack and Daxter at all. It is not a franchise that I spent much time with.
Yeah, I never played it at all.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. But if they came out, next week and said we're putting out a new Jack and Daxter for the current gen, I would definitely play it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like that kind of mascot style game.
Me too.
And it's a series that I'm interested in. Maybe I'll go back and play some of them. I do really typically like what Naughty Dog does.
Yeah.
Just in general. So I was really surprised at how many people said they wanted a new Jack and Daxter game.
A lot of people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sadly, I can only pick one.
That's okay. We had a lot of them.
All right, we got another comment here from Ethan Veda, who said, they could just make a spin-off game of those Savage Starlight comics you'd find in the first Last of Us game, and I'd be fun. Uncharted 4 ended perfectly, regardless if there was a spin-off with Chloe and Marlene, and Last of Us is just too far gone at this point to be redeemed.
Oh, interesting. Three kind of things to unpack here. One,
let's go in order.
The idea of there being a Savage Starlight, which is kind of isn't that like a superhero comic things that you
Ellie likes Savage Starlight.
Yeah. Right. That would be cool. Like an in-universe, out-of-universe game. That would be cool.
I would totally play that. That sounds cool.
I think that would be cool because it would give people who are familiar with The Last of Us kind of a jumping off point, a reason to want to play it because it's loosely connected to the game.
And maybe you build that into the Last of Us games, and then before you know it, The Last of Us just becomes like Roblox or Fortnite. It's like a hub for all these different games.
That's exactly what I want.
And then you could give us a season pass, and don't forget to charge us extra so we could play 3 days early. I mean, day one, sorry. And that'd be great.
Oh my God.
I'm just projecting here. Naughty Dog, please don't do that.
Don't do that. But I like the idea of doing something like a Savage Draw. I think that is a cool idea.
Yeah, it was random enough that it caught my eye. Thought we needed to talk about that. And then, Uncharted 4 ending perfectly. I've never played Uncharted 4. Would you agree with that assessment?
Uncharted 4 had a fantastic ending. We did get a game after Uncharted 4, which is Uncharted The Lost Legacy, which was a game where you play as Chloe instead of Drake.
Right.
I really liked that game as well. A lot of people do consider that game to be Uncharted 5. It just doesn't, it's not named Uncharted 5.
Yeah.
I consider it to be more like a spinoff, but I mean, it plays the exact same. It is an Uncharted game. It's just like, if it's an Uncharted game that focuses on a side character, I still consider it to be a spinoff, especially since it wasn't a numbered title.
Right.
And then The Last of Us being too far gone to be redeemed.
I don't understand that comment.
Yeah,
because I don't.
People didn't like it.
Yeah, but The Last of Us has, the show is the newest thing that's in The Last of Us, brand, right?
Right.
And the show was a massive success.
I saw comments on here, people saying that the show was just like, a joke. They hated the show. I don't get it, but I don't get it.
Well, I talked to a lot of people when the show was playing. I talked to people at school who never played the games. They liked it. I think it was received positively.
It definitely was. So, it was definitely a success.
That I feel like is very positive for The Last of Us. I guess this person is talking about The Last of Us Part 2. They're not factoring in that the franchise has had some shine from the show. And I don't agree.
No,
but you are entitled to your opinion.
No, a lot of people don't like The Last of Us Part 2, and that's fine. It's not going to be a game for everybody. It's a very divisive game. It's a very emotionally charged game in a lot of ways. Purposefully, the game purposely pushes buttons, and not everyone likes to have their buttons pushed.
Yeah. It wasn't always fun. The game itself was fun, but going through that story was not always fun.
No.
But I never, ever had a moment where I didn't think it was high quality. Right. And I just keep coming back to not everything that is good has to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why The Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. I'm just saying.
He's just saying, y'all.
I guess let's move on.
Well, we got one more comment here about this. This is from Liam Strand, who says, to the people who said they're not interested, WTF. This is a major company within the gaming market, and they are continuously contaminating the medium by releasing subpar games. Oh, geez. Yeah. Saying you don't care means you're fine with the games overall becoming worse. The best scenario would be for them to start fresh, create a new IP, and reinvent their style of video games. Oh, no, Liam.
Yeah, so a lot to unpack there. It started out it kind of faked you out.
It really faked me out.
I could tell it faked you out because you were saying you're not interested? WTF, this is Naughty Dog. And then they go on to be like, and they suck. And I thought it was really funny. And, okay, so subpar games from Naughty Dog.
Bro, right? These games are not subpar.
Well, I combed through the catalog, okay? And The Last of Us Part 1 did have a rocky PC port.
It did, and it was not done by Naughty Dog.
And that's all there is to be found. Naughty Dog drops nothing but bangers.
Nothing but bangers.
Nothing but bangers. God. Why? Can I be full spoilers here? It's been long enough, hasn't it?
No, it hasn't.
Why not?
It's only been 4 years. It's not even. Well, yeah.
The only reason
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 years.
The reason that people crap on Naughty Dog, in my opinion, the way it feels, is because the story in The Last of Us Part 2 did not go the way they wanted it to go.
That is true.
That's the way it feels to me, and I'm about tired of it.
The story didn't go the way they wanted it to, and they were not all happy with the portrayal of some of the characters, which I guess can be included in that same sentiment.
It's like, and gamers, and I myself, I've been guilty of this. When a game comes out and it's not the game I wanted it, or even like an album from a band I really like, they drop a new album, they decide to change something, and I get pissed and kind of jump off the bandwagon. I've done that. Mm-hmm. It's very human. And it doesn't make any of you who did that with Last of Us bad people.
No.
I just think maybe try it again. I don't know. Go back into it. Make sure you're open-minded, and just I hope you can see that I think it's a great story. But
I think that I think that Naughty Dog purposefully made a game that they knew was going to divide their audience, which is maybe not a great idea, but we're still talking about it 4 years later with heated arguments, essentially. So
yeah, but how unique is that? Like, how many studios are doing that? Putting out a game they know are going to divide the fan base, you know?
Yeah.
That's brave. Like,
super brave. Maybe not smart, but I mean, I think for those who it clicked with, which I include myself as part of the people who really enjoyed it, I'm glad they did it because I enjoy having my expectations of what I want from a video game not always just being like fulfilled always. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that some people, that's part of art. Like great art is not going to appeal to everyone. But for those who it appeals to, it's going to deeply appeal to them. And I think that's what we have here.
There are not many things in this world that I know. But one of those things that I know really well is Star Wars. So I'm going to equate this back to Star Wars. Star Wars, in the most recent 3 movies, you know, they came out through Disney, right? It was after the Disney acquisition. Clearly, Disney decided to take Star Wars in some directions that George Lucas did not, right? They made a decision. That is an example of somebody taking a franchise in a direction different from what you wanted, but it not landing, okay? Yeah. These are like universally hated decisions that Star Wars has made. Last of Us Part 2 is like straight down the middle, right?
Yeah.
But I just don't see how you can argue that it's not at least high quality. Maybe you don't like it,
right?
But how can you not see the quality?
Right, but not subpar. I agree.
And I don't know if I landed that Star Wars metaphor, but it worked in my head.
Well, it doesn't matter if you landed or not because you just you think what you think, and you can't help what you think.
You can. You can work on yourself.
You can work on it.
Yeah.
Well, in the moment, you know, in the current moment, you feel how you feel is what I'm getting at, I guess. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with us during all this craziness.
Wasn't easy.
If you made it to the end of this podcast, we just want to say thank you. For real. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And if you're interested in more, we do have memberships. Check out the join button on the YouTube version of this podcast. If you'd like to get a bonus video, we do weekly bonus videos for members. So if you're interested in supporting the channel and getting that bonus video, check that out. This week's bonus video is going to be about
Hellblade Divers 2.
We're talking about Hellblade 2. We're going to be talking about Helldivers 2 because they were both in the news this week. Of course, Hellblade 2 came out.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my thoughts. I finished that game and I have a lot to say about it. So check it out.
Bonus episodes are nice and loose. Like, it's very casual, you know. So if you want more of this, just jump on over there.
But say you just want to be shouted out at the end of the next podcast. We can do that too. Just join the 3 for Dale Club. Leave us a comment on this podcast on the YouTube version and say whatever you want, but include our secret code phrase 3 for Dale.
That's right. We combed through last week's podcast and we look for the phrase 3 for Dale, and it lets us know you made it to the end. And you know what? We fit to shout you out. So we're going to start this week's 3 for Dale Club with D18, who said 3 for Dale times 2. Would that be 6 for Dale or just 3 for Dale, 3 for Dale? Anyway, missed last week while on vacation. Excited to catch up on both episodes this morning. D18, Omaha, and welcome back. Hope you had a good vacation.
Yeah, hope you had a good one. Next, we got Morris Dennison, who said 3 for Dale. Law, you don't have to include the comment. It's a rant. Looks like we're doing it. An easy fix would be releasing a local server tool. Okay, so wait a second. What are we talking about here before we go into this comment?
So first of all, there was an earlier rant that I did cut.
Oh, okay.
But this is talking about the conversation we had last week about games eventually just disappearing and not being accessible.
Right, saving the games. That's right. This was our Stop Killing Games conversation. So anyways, with that, saying an easy fix would be releasing a local server tool like people in the fan community make for dead MMORPGs. Just let a strong computer host and allow up to 1 to 8 people connect if your system can handle it. Steam actually forces a lot of companies to release a local server tools when you buy the game. They are just under a different section. I mean, yeah, I think we talked about like fan-hosted servers in the conversation, I think a little bit, and I agree with you. I think that is would be amazing. I hope that all games who rely on online connections, if they're not wanting to host a server anymore, they should make it available so that it can be locally, hosted or fan hosted. 100%.
I think that'd be awesome. Yeah. But I don't necessarily want a law saying they have to do it. Anyway, next 3 for Dale is from Bombs Away, who said, great episode, hashtag 3 for Dale, trending #1 on Twitter.
Thank you so much. Next, we got Landon Stallings. Landon said, it's with deep sadness and a heavy heart that I inform you of the absence of my 3 for Dale from last week's ledger. I don't think I ever heard Dale speak much on religion, but I know that he was a man of great insight and that compassion and understanding were the foundation of his way of life. So I'd like to leave you with this quote from the man himself as I pray for his forgiveness. You can't let one bad moment spoil a bunch of good ones. Dale Earnhardt, 3 for Dale.
Landon. That was one of the most beautiful tributes to the grand deity, the Intimidator, that I've ever read. And it's funny because Landon didn't give us a 3 for Dale last week, but we threw him in there anyway. It didn't even matter. You didn't put it, and we put you there anyway. So
he commented. He just forgot to put 3 for Dale.
So don't you worry about it. And we're glad to have you back. You're still Dale himself. Nothing has changed.
That won't change.
And I'll put in a good man with #3 for you, or a good word with the man.
With the good man.
I'll put in a good man for you.
You're gonna put in a man?
I'm gonna put in a man.
Okay, you heard it here, guys. Well, we're gonna let Daniel get to that. So until next time, I'm Randy,
and I'm fixing to nail this hat toss.
See you guys. Wait, what do I say here? Oh, and this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.